What's up, everybody? Can't wait for this next hour of Philly Fourth and Go here with my man, Marc Thomasy. I'm Dave Gleckner. We're still pumped from last week's trade deadline when we shot you a quick 2-minute drill, but we're going to get into that and so much more tonight. We'll open with the NFL, recap the Super Bowl, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Rams. Was that an instant classic or not? We'll talk about maybe favorites already to meet the Super Bowl next year. Then we'll talk Eagles, and then it's all NBA. All you want to hear. Harden and Embiid, are they a match made for heaven? Daryl Morey, is he a genius? We'll talk, are the Sixers the favorites in the East? And then, obviously, we got to get into a little bit Ben Simmons. But with that said, let me bring in my boy, Marc Thomasy. What's up, brother?
What up, what up? It is what it is. We've been hearing a lot of that lately. It is what it is. Our man, Ben Simmons, it is what it is. But, yeah, no, it's not quite a winning Wednesday. But, if we want to look back on our Super Bowl win, Bengals, if we look at the 4.5, that's a win. So we'll consider it that. But yeah, life's golden on this side.
Yeah, man, and I'll tell you what. I mean, it's funny. I had a few people over, and I'm like, listen, the perfect scenario is Rams win by 4 or less for me. With the preseason tickets that I had on the Rams to win it all at 14-1, plus my 4.5 on the Bengals, it couldn't have turned out any better. But part of me feels a little hollow. I'm going to be honest, because I think Joey B could have won that thing. And I would have been okay eating the Rams preseason tickets. I would have been fine just to see the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl. There was something about me that was torn at the end of that game. And while we get into and break down the game, the first thing I'll ask you is this. Because, you get a 3-point game. You get a close game. What I said to people was that was a good game, not a great game. But then some people were like, no, that was great. That was great. So I'm just curious, where are you at? Because to me, it was a good Super Bowl. Good.
You asked the question when we started the show, was it an instant classic or not? Mm-hmm. It wasn't. It wasn't for me, just to be honest. It was a good game, not a great game. I completely agree with you. Like, it wasn't absurd. It wasn't like the first game that I think about is the Seattle-Denver game. Was it Seattle? Yeah, Seattle-Denver when it was like 55-8. Like, you get a marker like that, that's boring. That gets old real quick. I think the first snap of the game went right over Peyton's head, and you just knew it was just going to be an ugly Super Bowl. So it's not anything like that. And it's not, the 41-33 Eagles Super Bowl. Obviously, we're biased because we love our bird. But it really was a great Super Bowl because both defenses, they gave up here and there, but the Eagles defense ended up on top. But they both, quarterbacks combined for almost 1,000 yards between the two of them. And it didn't, as high scoring of a game as it wasn't ugly. Like, it really wasn't ugly. It was great plays on both sides of the field, offense, defense. Like, it just was, that was like one of the better games, in my opinion. Again, I'm biased. But when you look at this, it wasn't too crazy. It wasn't an offensive juggernaut. It wasn't a defensive stalwart. It was just kind of in the middle. But then if you break down the way that, the team scored, kind of muddies the water a little bit because it wasn't pretty. It was kind of ugly. And, the one thing that I'll say, and I actually said this, I had a couple of people over here, and I was like, they really haven't pulled out the flags too much. And this was like towards the very end of the game. But then at the end, calls started going left and right. And that's when we saw the demise of what happened. Oh. That's why I don't want to say it was a great game. It was a good game, though. It was entertaining, but it wasn't flashy. And even with these two teams, it wasn't flashy. And when you look at the parade that was held today, or if you want to call it a parade, in Los Angeles, it wasn't flashy. And that's the city of glamour and glitz.
So, hey, Dan, checking in. What's up, brother? I got to catch that Flyer Nice today. I didn't get there yet, but I'm definitely interested to get your take on, last night's tough one. My brother-in-law or my half, whatever, he's out in Oregon and subscribes to every Flyers game, was calling me at 9:30. I'm like, what's going on? He's complaining that Al Morganti gave him the jinx last night when they were up 4-2. I was like, dude, the Flyer season's been over since October. It's no jinxes, but hey, Dan, good checking in, man. Love hearing from you. I know you missed it, and we missed it last night at Heat Ratio Live, but we're going to get back there one of these days post-show for sure. Marc, I'm with you on a lot of things that you said. Not an instant classic, a game that kind of drug on early, and then you got a little worried when the Rams got 14-3. Was this going to be a game? And then, what happens? The Bengals make some great adjustments, get down 14-10, and then open up or 13. I'm sorry, because they missed the extra point. But get the opening series in the second half, score, and then they get an interception, score, and it's just looking like it's going to be a banger. And it slowed down, considerably until, like you called it, last drive for the Rams. And when you're talking about a game that was hardly penalized, to then blow those whistles. I mean, the one on Eli Apple from the 1 yard line, yeah, absolutely, that's a pass interference. But the hold over the middle on Cup before that play on third down, not a penalty. It's just not. It's not.
You look at it, and everybody knows the infamous T. Higgins touchdown.
Yeah.
Long pass.
Yeah.
That was a blatant no call. Now, do we think, and what it seems like, half that final drive was a makeup?
It could have been. It could have been.
Even for a while, they didn't pull out the flags.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I'll be honest, like, the Bengals had a chance, right? And so they had a chance, and they couldn't block Aaron Donald. And, yeah, the Higgins face mask had to be called. I agree 1,000%. As much as I'm cheering for the Bengals, and I had T. Higgins over props all the way.
Oh, yeah.
It had to be called. Like, that's a blatant miss. But if you're going to blatantly miss that, how are you going to call tic-tac down? Like, it's just
because it was their makeup.
Yeah, and then that's okay. That's okay. And the Bengals had their chance. And if you saw the last play of the game, if Burrow has one more second, Ramsey is absolutely cooked by Jamar Chase. He's on the ground, Chase streaking to the end zone. That's a touchdown, and we're talking some crazy things. I mean, Stafford still could come back, but really in the sport of what this was, it's crazy. Like, I don't think the Rams are great. I don't think they're
not. It's a shame because they're so talented.
Yeah, but listen, they got lucky.
Yeah, they did.
They blew that Tampa game and then had a couple, Cup streaking free to get the last second field goal. They got lucky against San Fran. Tart dropping an interception.
Yeah.
And then they get a few fortunate bounces to win by 3. And then they win by 3 again with this lucky last drive. And it's but good for them. I give them a lot of credit. They're Super Bowl champions. You can never take that away. Go party with your 300 fans. Like that, that seemed really fun. I mean, I remember when I was on Broad Street, I had 300 fans within like 1 square meter of me.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
But the one thing I took out of it today, Mark, and I thought was pretty cool was it looked like Matt Stafford was pulling Tom Brady, man.
Oh, yeah.
Fun.
You gotta love the tweet from Tom Brady saying, "Mix in a water there, Matt."
Yeah, we've all been there.
Trust me.
What do you think about this comment? Because I will tell you, I think it still should have been Cooper Kupp.
I do too. I understand that Aaron Donald made plays up front, but really, you think about it, it was a tough, an easy matchup for them. I honestly think that they should have been able to do more. Don't get me wrong. I think Burrow was sacked 7 times, and he had big plays, but Cooper Kupp is just time and again. I mean, if you don't want to go like whole season on it, but like just what a difference maker Cooper Kupp is in general, and he was a difference maker in this game. Like they held him out for a while, but then he got on at the end, and that's all it took. I obviously it's a legitimate gripe from Dan. It's legitimate. I think they were debating it. I saw when Aaron Donald wasn't on the stage that it was Kupp's MVP award. Yeah, I noticed that. I was looking to see which one would be on stage, even though there were other players.
Yeah, Aaron Donald made tremendous plays. Don't get me wrong, and he was a force, and he impacted the game like no other. Co-MVP, maybe you could have sold me on, but the fact that you're dropping 2 TDs and really the one with like right around 2 minutes left to win the Super Bowl, and some other critical plays. I mean, that whole drive was Cooper Kupp.
And they're usually going to favor the offense because honestly, if you look at them, if they're even, they're going to favor the offensive for the MVP. Like Aaron Donald probably would have had to have 5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries to beat out Cooper Kupp in that scenario.
Well, yeah, but it's more like, and I agree with that, but it's more the Cooper Kupp was like 4 catches on the last drive.
Right.
You need a guy to win a game.
But then you could say the same argument that Aaron Donald made the play that Burrow couldn't get the ball out to Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if we want to talk about it, he made the final play of the game. It wasn't a stack, but it was pretty much like
then are you giving
Burrow
it to
tossed a 2-foot Hail Mary because he just had to get it off.
I hear you. I think Donald's
But
tremendous.
the touchdown.
I think it's sealed. If Cup only gets that touchdown, doesn't get the first one, it's Donald.
Yeah.
But to have two and to have an impact on that game, and I mean they scored 3 touchdowns total.
Right. The other one was Beckham.
Yeah, crazy. Now, looking at it, there was some other stuff going on. I just wanted to get your take on the halftime show, my man. I thought it was pretty cool. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's honestly like a throwback to, the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I thought it was really good. It wasn't anything crazy or out of the box, though. But, I mean, that's all the music I grew up on.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool. Why I thought it was really cool was it was West Coast. I mean, they threw a lot of West Coast things in there with Dre, Snoop.
That was the most
I will say this
about the game.
I will say, my man Fitty was looking like a James Harden who wanted to get traded.
He was.
He was looking a little hefty.
It looked worse with him hanging upside down. Upside down. But you know what happens when you take steroids after a while? You blow up. You have to think that 50 might have been on the steroids, but he's blowing up now.
Cease, what's up, my man? I know we talked on Facebook Messenger and stuff. I'm glad you got the win. Cease was leaning Rams money line, was also leaning some Stafford props and good stuff, my man. At least I think we all came out a little bit on the up and up on that. Good to hear from you. Good to see you. Yeah, definitely. It was a fun Super Bowl. And it's one of those rare ones that we can get where a lot of people could win with that type of line. At 4.5, and people liking the Rams money line. The over, under, I just don't touch those very much, so that didn't impact me. But hey, talking about, go ahead.
Anything more than 3, you gotta get some action in on it. Anything more than 3, because usually, and I was listening to somebody a couple weeks ago. I think it was the Sunday of, I think it was Championship Sunday. I was listening to the radio, and they said, look, usually in most matchups you get 3.5 at most.
Right.
But the fact that it was at 4.5, they said maybe there was a matchup that could give you a 4, but I mean, looking at getting 4.5, that's a lot in the Super Bowl.
And it's a lot. And I broke this down for a team like the Rams that they just don't beat good teams very much. And if they do, it's by this margin. They were actually negative point differential 2-5 against playoff teams in the regular season. So it wasn't a team that I was really scared of. And I wasn't at all. And I just, hey, that's what it was. But we're definitely going to talk some more NFL here real fast. But we got to answer the question, Mark, because I don't know this answer. You might.
Yeah, I don't know. That was shoulder pads from the 80s, when women wore the shoulder pads way back when.
Yeah, my man had no sleeves on a suit coat, on a pea coat.
Yeah, well, it was trendy, I guess.
Yeah. Then there was some string on the back.
If you even saw what he was wearing to his presser, he had a sweatsuit on with the rubber. I forget what they are, the floaters or something that they're called. Yeah. And then he has a bag that looks like it's like the over the one strap book bag.
Oh, the satchel.
Yeah. What? But with rainbow crosses on it or something. I don't get style. You know what? If I don't get style, then that's fine.
My man actually made Cam Newton not look too bad. I mean,
it's debatable.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Westbrook walks out in a lot of clown suits too.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's just, I get it's fashion, but
it's what
that kind of fashion, man. Look, I wear some stuff too, but I ain't wearing that. But my man James, we'll like him. I
don't give a shit what he's wearing. No, I don't.
No, it was funny though. I hope I hope he brings that type of flair on the court as he does off the court. But talking about the NFL, looking just quickly, big future. I know we're a year away from the next year in the Super Bowl, but we've already turned over Tom Brady. We've already McVay and Aaron Donald. They might have said today at the parade that let's run it back, but there's
Donald
still rumors.
Said no.
Who knows, right? The Rams really don't have a lot of draft picks or equity to really rebuild this team. They're old. I'm not sure I'd sell or put my money on them coming back. I'm not ready to say Cincinnati. I still think Super Bowl losers don't tend to come back, and I would tend to tell you I might not even pick them as a playoff team next year. I'd just be curious if there was one team on your mind right now. Who would you think is the immediate Super Bowl favorite for next year?
I'm going back to the well. Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills. I think they have the second best odds.
They're best right now.
What?
They're the top right now. Yeah.
No, they're top. Okay, I thought they were second best. Yeah. I mean, I think this is now 2 years in a row where they've been denied by the Chiefs at the end. They're really good on both sides of the ball.
They just need to be
a couple
home for
improvements. Yeah. Really, just take care of business, because you saw when they went, they started off slow with a loss in Pittsburgh, and then they had like 4 or 5 games in a row where they were winning like 40-0 against everybody, and then they fizzled out, and that fizzle out is what held them back from having home field advantage, because especially Buffalo has home field advantage with Bills Mafia. That's a legit advantage. That's one of the teams that you look at and you say, yeah, that's an advantage. Like, excuse me, like being in Philly, being in Green Bay, being in Buffalo, like those are the kind of places where it's a home field advantage, where like you look at the Rams in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's already a corporate event anyway, but nobody showed up.
No.
Nobody showed up for them.
No.
Nobody showed up for a free parade.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would kill, and we did it once. We would kill for a parade, for anything.
Yeah, we talked about it. Like, we could talk for 10 years. Just give us
I almost think, because I went to the first Villanova parade, that they're competing with each other. The parade that they had down in Center City for Villanova's first championship.
Yep.
Competed with LA. Like, obviously LA probably have more.
No.
It's a bigger city.
I agree.
Legitimately, if you put pictures next to each other, you'd be like, who won the Super Bowl?
I agree.
Which city?
Hashtag 300 fans. But hey, now I'm looking at Caesars. Caesars does have the Bills at the second. DraftKings has them in the first. You could interchange them. They're 700, 750. I'm with you. I love the Buffalo Bills, but instead, if I was going to take my money and put it on someone right now, it's the San Francisco 49ers. Ooh. And at 400 plus 1,400, I'm really liking like their chances next year. Usually these teams that suffer a couple warts, a couple blows, can rebound and have that motivation. We saw it with the Rams. They lost in the divisionals last year. We came back, now are Super Bowl champions. We saw it with the Bills losing, but then almost pushing through. I just like the Niners. I know Trey Lance is going to be a big.
That's my question for you.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Trey Lance,
he's got to be better than Jimmy. At least with Trey Lance, I think you have this option of the quarterback being able to beat you versus the better teams. I don't think you had that with Jimmy. And they have this awesome run game that they're going to even improve better on defense. I really, really think the Niners are a team to be reckoned with. And Cease, I tell you, the one team you mentioned there, it's the Chargers. And I'm interested in some Chargers futures. No doubt about it. I think Herbert could be your next Burrow. I mean, they're obviously got drafted in the same class. My only thing there is I got to watch what happens with Denver. If they get Aaron Rodgers and he's up against Rodgers and Mahomes in the same division, that's what I'm waiting on. Actually, a lot of Denver props are off the board. Titans, I just can't do until they figure out Tannehill.
Even Carr with McVay or Russell Wilson.
Well, Carr with Daniels, you're saying.
McDaniels. What did I say? I meant McDaniels. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies. McDaniels.
Yeah. But I do like where your head's at, because if the Titans can, like, if they give up on Tannehill and go get someone like Russell, like, or something crazy, they make something happen. Whoo! You could be getting some great Titans money right now. I think Titans were around 20. Yeah, 20 to 1. Quarterback market's going to be flowing this year, so it's going to be some good talk as we go forward here. And another one of your comments, it's our next subject. So as we transition here, Cease, thanks for lining us up. Put one on a tee. I see the back word saying titles. Let's hit it. And I'm going to go right into the Eagles prospects. Marc, this week we've heard some rumors swirling. Howie's been all around. They said he spent some extra time at the Senior Bowl really looking at Malik Willis.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard he's starting to dip into some ideas in the trade market, maybe potentially FA market. To get the guys they want, though, it's going to have to be a trade. Yeah. And I heard some potential Russell Wilson 1 or 2 first rounders. One, we're talking.
One is a lock for me.
It's a lock. 2, I'm probably not doing 2 from this year. I'm probably trying to do 1 in the future because I'm hoping that we push out and be a really good team and then fall in the mid-20s. So I'm probably looking, if I do 2, it's 1 of our 3, 1 in the future, package another 1 or 2 things, maybe throw Hurts in there. Obviously I think they're going to want him with Geno Smith as their only backup option right now, unless they're going to look to dive into a Kirk Cousins market. But I'm 1 or 2 first rounders. 1 is a no-brainer. 2, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. Like I said, I love the idea of pulling from next year, your 1 from next year. Then you could even, if you really want to get creative, trade 1 of your 1s this year for a 1 next year. Like there's the thing about having 3 draft picks is you can make it work.
Yes.
You can find a way. So this is your opportunity. Like I said, I don't think they mindlessly, it did fall into their lap with Miami wanting to move back. But I don't think you just pull the trigger on that because they were at 6. So they could have taken a plethora of people that they wanted. They jumped back knowing that they were going to get capital. They already had the capital from the Wentz trade.
Yeah.
You have an idea. Like, I think Howie is calculated enough that he didn't just do it to be just because he wanted to have the luxury of having 3 picks. It's either we are going to actually build through the draft, or now that we're looking at this quarterback situation, which I think is more likely, we're going to do something with these 3 picks. We're going to make it happen in some way.
With this Russell Wilson talk, I mean, let's think about it. There's been talk that this was Howie Roseman's eye on the prize back, and unfortunately he got drafted right before they could have picked, and then ended up taking Foles. So Russell Wilson's always been a target, and it makes me think of Maury.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going the same route.
Doesn't it feel like you knew he was going to be something, and we've already seen Roseman kind of be that stubbornness, have that personality that he wanted him, he loved him. He's now turned into pretty much a Hall of Famer. I'll say pretty much. 1 Super Bowl I think's got him there, and with his other resume. But add in the fact that all. This could be Howie's way of proving that, he was right all along, and let's bring him here and he can show you, what he thought he was. So I feel like he's going to make a push. Now, the question is going to be, would Russ come here?
That's a good question because I think right now he was never on – we were never on his list, and I get that. But I think scenarios change. You got to think about, do you really want to be in Seattle? That's the $1 million question. That's your choice because – if you look at it, you got Giants brass coming out and saying that, we stand by and support Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So they have that. I mean, there's always Washington, but Wilson wouldn't be completely opposed to going to Washington, but it's Washington. You look at what they have. They have a good defense, but besides, and Terry McLaurin. It's honestly not terrible. What do you say, a bad team name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what, though? Russell's pretty corny. He would probably he'd be like, yeah, I'm a commander, Mr. Unlimited. I love Russell Wilson, but he's corny.
He is corny.
But I don't care.
As a commander.
He can be he would for sure be in on it. There's a lot of places. There's a lot of moving parts. This quarterback market's gonna be crazy. This year, regardless. It's so I want to say something controversial, but you can go ahead.
Let me just ask you this and then you can say, if Russell Wilson somehow ended up here, does that open up the possibility of Devontae Adams? Because the Eagles have cap room. It's going to be, tricky the way they do a few things. Or is it just Adams is going to be locked into that franchise and he's not becoming a free agent?
I think if he shakes out that way, the Eagles make a push. Now, whether it's successful or not, absolutely. I think if you're the Eagles, you gotta say, all right, look, I mean, if we can have a Devontae Adams and a Devontae Smith lined
With
up
Russ.
on their outsides, it doesn't even matter who if Quez or Jalen Reagor is
I
behind.
just don't think Devontae comes here without a quarterback. That I don't think he comes.
Right?
Here
No,
without
I agree.
That's
Oh,
what I'm
he
saying.
doesn't come here with Jalen Hurts. Like,
No.
I think I said this before. I think I said this when we were at the Steam Pub, but Devontae Adams isn't coming here with Jalen Hurts.
No.
His numbers are going to go down. His production is going to go down, and then people are going to look at him like, dude, you're not worth, $23 million a year, whatever, he's going to get.
Yep.
He's absolutely not going to tarnish himself. He's going to go where a quarterback is. Again, I think that he could still put up numbers with Jalen Hurts, but it's going to be like at most 3/4 of what he normally does. And then it's going to look like he's taking a step back.
I think his best – I think the Packers franchise him and you got no shot.
Right.
But I do think if he doesn't go there, he ends up either where Rodgers is or Derek Carr. That was his college quarterback. Fresno State.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And you already know the Raiders needed number one. I mean,
right.
Theirs is in jail. So, I mean,
right.
That's where I think he goes. But and with McDaniel now, you could have a pass-happy offense. But so I don't think the market is really going to – for me, if I can't get Adams, I have almost zero interest in free agent receivers. I just don't like – I know Jeffrey turned out well that year. We got lucky because you saw after that it went – and obviously he started turning the corner on Wentz, but maybe he was right all along. I just get real sour on free agent.
It depends on what kind of deals are out there. Like I said, because after they saw the numbers that Kenny Galladay got, and you look at the other wide receivers who went
Curtis
out, the two highest paid ones did absolutely nothing. So teams might be reluctant, besides Devontae Adams, might be reluctant to give Mike Williams, who has an injury history.
That and Christian Kirk, small. I mean, I like him, but I mean, it's got to be cheap, and he's got to be my 3. Right. I need a receiver like Adams, or I'm drafting a number 1.
Right.
And I like Drake London, and I like Chris Olave, and that. But once I give away, that's the only reason I brought this up is because if I have to give away one this year to get Russell Wilson, I'm off the receiver train in the first round because I need to build that defense.
You need to.
I need it. Yep.
You need to draft a Nakobe Dean or a Sauce Gardner or
Devin Lloyd. I'm still all about Lloyd from Utah.
Yeah, and I'm growing more and more towards him too. But I still like the prospect of Nakobe Dean. But let's just say this. I'm going to say this.
Here we go.
I'm not ruling out Deshaun Watson, and I even heard Schefter today on the radio kind of rule it out. I'm telling you, and they're saying that I haven't. The Eagles looked into it last year. And Eagles aren't. If they look at it and they legitimately can get Deshaun Watson I'm back. If they can get Deshaun Watson without, or like if their only other option is Hurts, because honestly, the market is dwindling down. The market is really dwindling down. Like there's not going to be many options, and especially like if Russ stays in Seattle and has no interest in coming here, and you're the Eagles and you have a great offensive line now, and that's your option, they're going to look at themselves in the mirror, and if these things because they're going to get resolved within the next month or 2. I'm telling you, one way or another. Not saying this isn't my judgment call. This isn't whatever. Well, a lot of people are all saying we don't want him here. We don't want him here. When he has them at 5-2 in week 7, everyone's going to shut their mouth. I know it because they're going to be winning. And that's again, I'm not trying to be insensitive because it's going to sound like it. But I'm saying we're going to go through this dance. Nobody wanted Vic here, and then everybody loved Vic after he, there's a difference. I know.
I put blinders on, right? And the reason I say this is because, listen, we're fans. We're bar talk, and we have some inside scoops here and there, but we're not as deep as we can be into the team as a lot of people are. And if they're making a move like that, they're making it on good.
They know.
Absolute. They have a positive information to be able to make that move and understand he's going to play this year. So I ask you with this much. I look at it from a football perspective. I box out all the other noise. If he had made those, if those accusations are true and he did some things like that, albeit he shouldn't play. And I respect all that. But let's just look at it from a football standpoint. Does Deshaun Watson cost you more than Russell Wilson?
No, because right now you're getting it. It's going to be simple.
I think you're right. I think you're right on that because of his risk.
Before the risk,
play.
You're looking at starting at 3 first rounders. Like,
yes.
That's why the Texans had such a high price on him. Now they just want to get out from under the scenario. They do.
They might have
still want to say we got a first rounder or 2 out of this, or so on and so forth. They're still going to put a price tag on it. They're not giving him away.
Yeah, so I'm with you, and I think I'm not sure what Davis Mills is yet, but he definitely exceeded expectations. They can move on comfortably and either go after a free agent and just let Mills just go and see what they got. But they can move on from Watson right now and get 2 first rounders in their game. I think it's down to at least 2.
Yeah.
No more than. And I think you might be able to squeeze, remember, Wentz went out for a 1 and now a 3.
1 and a 3.
Right? It was conditional, but a 1 and a 3. You might even be able to get 1 and 2. I do think Deshaun Watson's cheaper. I agree with you. I think the year off and the risk that comes associated with it. I know he's younger, but it's Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson, or who knows what we got with Deshaun. He's been off for a year. I do think you get a little cheaper.
Yeah.
In that sense, I'd probably go Watson.
Yeah. See, I still given the choice, I'd probably still go Wilson, but I just think that there's a chance that Wilson could stay in Seattle. It's not a foregone conclusion. He doesn't want to be there. I get that, but it's not. Or there's a lot of teams that are in on him. The Bucks are going to be in on him. Washington, New York, they're not a definite no, even though they've said that they're going to focus on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but they're not. I agree.
But Denver, I mean, if things don't work out with Aaron Rodgers, it's not a foregone conclusion that Russell Wilson is going to be ours for the taking, and it's just going to be a price. We have a lot of competitors. We just have assets right now.
And I'll stand here today and I'll say it's Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, or Watson, or I'm going draft QB. It doesn't have to be first round. We can always try and find someone. If I'm draft QB, obviously I'm letting Hurts go this year and play.
Yeah,
I'm not Kirk Cousins. I'm not Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not these Jameis Winston. I'm not fringing it out there. It's one of those 3. I think Rodgers is no shot. I think Wilson, you might have a 10, 20% shot on at most. And I think probably similar in the Watson. I think a lot of it's a little wish list for us. But obviously the wish list is true. And I hope Hurts doesn't take offense to this. It's Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's a quarterback that has won a national championship. These are guys with a lot of, credentials that are behind them that we're talking about.
A lot of people are trying to still run out there that Hurts is the guy you build around and he's going to take you there. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. And
no way he's not.
It's an eye test. It's an eye test. And I think he'll improve. And I think it'll con fans. And he's not doing this on purpose, obviously, but it'll con fans into believing that he's the guy going forward if he plays a little bit better than he does. But he hasn't beaten, or he's 1-8 against winning teams. He doesn't. He comes up small. I mean, look, Tampa Bay was the perfect example that once Tampa went up big, it was over because now you have to throw the ball. You can't do it, and he couldn't.
No
Those
doubt.
15 points were as empty as a hollow door.
There's one thing, we're on the same side a lot. We can differ here and there. We've never been off the tracks with Jalen Hurts.
No.
Never. But I will say, if I can't get one of those 3, he's my guy for next year.
Yeah.
But I would draft the quarterback. They did when Wentz was the guy and they drafted Hurts in the second. So, and if guys like Sam Howell or something just continue to slip.
Or Malik Willis, any of those 3.
Yeah, I will also go. I saw McShay's draft now. His mock 2.0 came out today. Willis goes to the Commanders at 10. But some of the other guys could slip. Pickett, small hands like Mark Drumheller. But hey, before we get out of the NFL, real quick, a lot of rumors about Carson Wentz being kicked to the curb in the next 2 weeks here. Do you believe it's true?
Well, there is that roster bonus, which leads you to believe that the Colts have had these internal discussions.
So discuss that, right? He's got $15 million no matter what, and it's 28. It kicks into, I think, if he's on past March 5th or something like that. So they would lose 15 dead money if they do kicking, or they got to pay him that roster bonus of $5 million, and it guarantees the 28, I think, later. But yeah, right.
But there's something there. That's not going well.
But they're like $40 million under the cap. Like,
again, it's something there, whether it happens or not. But they don't really have other options in Indiana or the Indianapolis Colts. Then they become into the part of the looking for a quarterback too. It's already a heavy market. If you have somebody that played half decent for them.
27-7
short at the end.
Yeah,
but he played half decent throughout the year.
That's what 27-7 is real solid. What hurt was his average pass yards per game, I think, was 210, which was like 27th in the NFL.
And they relied on Jonathan Taylor.
They did, but when you look at it, it's Michael Pittman and nobody else. Zach Pascal, a beat-up T.Y. Hilton. Now, I don't have a lot of faith in Carson Wentz, so I'm not making excuses for him. I think he could have made the guys better. I think he stinks. If he's cut from this team, or if he's somehow traded, does he have a starting job next year?
It's a good question. I mean, you look at it. You could look at a team like Detroit, or I'm trying to think of who else.
He's better than Goff. I give you that.
Yeah, he's better. That would be some kind of story. Number 1 and number 2 picks. But then
it's Minnesota. Like, if Minnesota gets rid of Cousins, you could see a guy. What's the Rams coordinator? Maybe their new head coach out in Minnesota could. Maybe.
That seems like a stretch. It's not
Pittsburgh.
They're another one. They're not going to invest a lot into a quarterback. They're either going to draft one, but if they can't get a hold of one, then that's an option.
Yeah, Saints.
I don't. Well, it's Dennis Allen now, so I actually could see it happening. I don't think it would work with a Sean Payton, but that's tough.
Yeah, so my theory is he may have a starting job, but I will tell you what, Carson Wentz as a backup is not ideal. This guy would just go to shreds. So
yeah,
it'll be real interesting. And the last point I'll have on this is a lot of people are lauding Howie Roseman for the trade. Listen, Carson Wentz made that trade. Like,
he wanted out
his way out.
Yeah,
and they just nobody was lauding the trade when it happened, because guess what? 3 years ago, when you could have chosen Foles over Wentz, you would have got 3 first-round picks for Wentz.
Right.
So stop with this, like, Howie
didn't.
Off.
He didn't turn over a stone that we didn't know about. Literally,
no, he got market value.
Right.
Got market value. That's
and it's great. I mean, it is great they got it first for it, and they get to use it this year. But Howie didn't do anything to deserve it. Howie made it happen by drafting Hurts. That's what happened.
Exactly. And
using a second-round pick on a guy who we're seeing right now can't play in the NFL as a starter, as a legit Super Bowl contender starter.
Yep.
That's where we're at right now because of that decision. Maybe it, again, we've gotten picks out of it and everything like that, but we didn't have to be here. Who knows? Maybe if we got the right people in place. But here we are.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that wraps up the NFL segment of this show. 38 minutes strong in. There's a reason the banner is red at the bottom. Talking episode 9 here on Heat Ratio Sports. It's red for what I'm wearing. And, well, Mark, you're going a little city,
all-star. All-stars are all Embiid.
And I love it. It's Sixers time, baby. And we kicked it off last Thursday. As soon as the trade went through, we were pumped, hyped. Mark had some champagne and a cigar. And I'll tell you, the mood has not slowed down. Even after last night's 48-point drubbing against the Boston Celtics, there's a lot of emotions in the air, and there's a lot of things going on. And, no excuses to lose like that. But what I'll say is this. I'm liking everything I'm seeing so far. And as we talk about the trade, I bumped into a lot of people over the weekend. And we talked trade, and the resounding opinion I got back from everyone was we gave up too much because we gave up Seth Curry.
It's
And I'm like, what the hell are you guys thinking about? And I don't mean to say that in any terms of like you don't know, but the fact of the matter is one, and then they'll mention Drummond. Drummond's on a 1-year deal, so he's gone.
He was gone.
Gone. So it doesn't matter. Like you already got him for 2/3 of the season. Peace out, like Cub Scout. You did good for us. And as far as Seth Curry goes, he's on a great deal. Don't get me wrong, but you saw the wear and tear on that guy. He missed a ton of games this year due to hamstring, back. The more we used him at a high usage rate, the more he wore down. Guy can't play defense. It was exposed in the Atlanta series. My man, well, he's not really my man, but Huerta is going out there stroking him. Bogdanovich, Curry was hitting him, but he was letting him up on the other end. I love Curry, and I would have loved to kept him, but to get something, you got to give something. And if it had to be Seth Curry, I was okay with it because if you look at it deep down inside, it was James Harden for Seth Curry.
Yes.
That's what you're trading for what's on the floor.
Right.
And if you can't tell me that James Harden is a better shooter and better player, don't be heartbroken. Where was Seth Curry going to fit on this team once we got James Harden? He was going to get he was already struggling to get 10 shots because he was very passive in a team that allowed him to shoot. Where was he going to get more?
This is something that we talked about, that Curry should have been shooting more anyway.
Right. Don't be mad. So for the people that this trade was awesome. And I will sit here to this day and tell you that. And if it fails because James Harden and Joel Embiid didn't mesh. Right. But it doesn't fail because you gave away an aging Seth Curry that had no position on this team, Andre Drummond, who was gone next year, and some draft picks that won't matter because you're drafting in the late 20s. Right. For James Harden, who's miles better than Ben Simmons. This team is better today, and we didn't have to trade Tobias Harris. I thought it was a fantastic trade, and now I think a week later I still do.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to think otherwise. And the fact that people do is look, I think what nobody is admitting, that everybody's afraid of getting the bad side of the trade. When they talk about trades in the NBA for star players, it never works out for the team that's trading away the star player.
Right.
And even though we traded away Ben and we're getting the star player, some people are saying we gave up a big haul for it. But if you look at it, there's nothing of substance there. Even Ben Simmons going there, maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't. But guess what? That's not our problem anymore. But he wasn't going to play here. And you didn't want to have to give up Matisse Thybulle or Tyrese Maxey. It's just those are the two other guys besides Joel Embiid that were practically untouchables. I said there was maybe a chance about Matisse, but the fact that they didn't have to give him up, that's already a win. It's already a win right there that you have a core of Embiid, Maxey, and Thybulle. That's already a win. And now you put James Harden in that mix. You got 4 guys right there that you can build a team around. Again, Thybulle isn't the offensive player that we want, but the defensive stalwart. And you take him for what he is. Maybe Harden influences, I doubt it, but maybe Harden can get his shot better. I don't know. But there's no reason in how that this trade is I would do this trade 17 times over the Sunday. It's over and over and over again. It worked out for both teams. Things were going sour. Now Brooklyn, they're a bunch of weenies right now because they're attacking Harden so hard. I get it. Harden made his ploy out there. And the thing is, Ben's made his way out of here over the last year, pretty much. He's won it out, and when it's just it's so known that we're not even really offended anymore. Where because Harden just put up this stink, and they're all Durant and Irving didn't like him anyway. No, we didn't like him anyway, and he's crap and all this kind of stuff. Guess what? If you look at the numbers, Kyrie's been on the team since 2019, Durant since 20, and then Harden just, December of 20 last year, just, got onto the team at the trade deadline. I think Kyrie Irving's played in 87 games, Harden's played in 71, and Durant's played in 70. It's something around that. So the guy who came here the most recent, played in the most games without any help, had to do it all himself. It was like his last days in Houston, again, where nobody was there with him. And I don't think that Harden and Irving would have meshed from the beginning anyway. That never made sense to me.
No.
Never.
So, you hear the rumors out there. I'll get into Ben Simmons things in a little bit because I have a pretty strong opinion on that. But, there's rumors out there right now. Like, Harden and Durant was the bigger issue. And it was more that, Nash wanted to run some different plays and some flex offense. And Harden really wanted to run ISO ball. And he just really struggled in situations where he wasn't the guy with the ball. And when he couldn't do that, and you think about Harden back in his prime, right? He ran out of OKC, even though I know Morey traded for him, but on a team where he wasn't getting the shine. He always needed the shine. And when he went to Brooklyn and didn't get that shine, I think it really started to impact him. He needs that rock in his hands to actually be, I guess, mentally into games.
And get your full use out of them, yeah.
Yeah, and as much as, he played with Durant before and knew what was happening, I think the addition of Kyrie, and there wasn't enough rocks to go around. And Harden eventually knew it, like, I'm just not going to be happy here. Maybe we can do this if I just sit back, and then the Kyrie thing happened. When he didn't want to get his shots and he wasn't there every night. And it was just purely like they played with a different lineup every single game. And Harden was like, F this. I always wanted to be in Philly. I just need to go. And so I think it was a little bit more KD. And the reason I say it, if you watch the NBA All-Star Draft Selection Show, you could see that KD was just none too pleased about Harden. He got picked last.
Yeah.
Now he's not playing.
And he had to take Gobert.
Oh yeah.
No.
He's not playing. So he got replaced by who was it? Jared Allen, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I think a lot of what happened in Brooklyn, and it happens a lot. We saw the dream team with the Eagles with Vince Young, Nnamdi Asomugha, and all that talk. When you pile on, and you saw some of it. I know LeBron eventually got there with Miami, but when you piled it on early, it's tough. But Harden's not a Bosch.
Right. Not that third guy.
He's not, and he just wants. I do think he functions best in a 1-2. And he's got the 1-2 now. It's not 1-2-3.
There's a rumor swirling around now. All of a sudden, I think it was Zach Lowe, but on his podcast, he said that there is the possibility that after this season, Harden declines that opt-in option, takes less. Sixers move Tobias, open up a third max slot.
For what, though?
Bradley Beal. Again, that sounds like kind of like the same thing that the Nets were trying to do. But it's something to ponder about. It's an interesting scenario. Just thinking about it.
Yeah. No, that is interesting.
I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. It's not like I
know. I mean, I trade a Tobias for a Beal in a heartbeat, right?
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's really more just unloading the salary and having somebody.
No. Oh, I know. You're probably unloading Tobias to OKC, who has all this dead cap.
Right. To a cap-friendly team. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're probably giving away 4 first-round picks just for them to take the.
Well, they don't really
the salary,
but.
Well, they have a few, but I mean, what I'm saying is, I know you're going to have to give them something to take on that big salary and absorb it. I mean, it's what they did with Horford, right? They found a way for OKC to absorb Horford, and I love the idea of that. Can I keep Bradley Beal happy? I think I can. I'm just, you're getting me, spontaneously here, and I like it. I think Beal just needs to win. I just think he needs to get out of the Wizards
Well, he does.
funk. Yeah, what I mean is, I think he could come here and get 15, 18 shots a game to be happy.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the ball, so it's like, and don't get me wrong, he's a good ISO player, but he's a shooter.
He would be more of your Klay Thompson.
He would. I like it.
And Harden needs the ball, and Embiid is your spacer.
Yeah. Yep.
That wasn't just like a Twitter rumor. That was Lowe said it on his podcast, and he said league offices will be turning their tune up. I mean, the thing is, there was tampering. Let's be honest about this. There was tampering in this and that's okay. Everybody tampers. I don't care
Yeah.
who you are. It happens. The fact that they try and penalize people for tampering is stupid because it happens. Agents,
Yep.
they all have their avenues of doing it. I mean, it goes back to the Sixers, hiring the Dame's shooting coach and everything like that. Like
Yep.
trying to do things like that. Trust me, everybody talks and everybody listens. And, it almost makes you think that Harden pulled his "I want to get out of here" card because Daryl was pretty much like, "Look, you force your way out of Brooklyn. We got Ben Simmons." Because Daryl did say, and he mentioned it at his press conference, that if he had his druthers, there would have been a 3-way deal done last year.
Yep.
When Harden went to Brooklyn, instead of going to Brooklyn, Ben would have gone to Brooklyn. Harden would have been here. The only reason why it didn't happen is because Tim Furtada, or whatever his name is, over in Houston, did not want to trade with
No,
Harden.
he didn't.
He did it.
Hey.
And somebody else brought up another point that Bucks, Heat, Nets, and somebody else were all getting the players that the Sixers were coveting.
Yep.
Because like PJ Tucker, because Jason,
he didn't want him. He didn't want to come to Morey. He was
right.
mad that
No, they would have. The trade would have been, if they made the trade, it would have been PJ Tucker and Harden to Philly for Simmons and whatever on top of that. It would have been.
It's
That's why PJ Tucker
it's made a full circle, right? It's made a full circle, and he's here now. And before we get into Ben Simmons, let me ask you this, simply from a James Harden Embiid standpoint. I know Embiid tried the crazy step back and got called
in
for
the game.
He needs to put it away, and that's fine. And he even got blocked trying to do that because it was so scripted. People could see how slow it was that they were like, "What is this guy doing?" But anyway, Harden and Embiid, Tobias Harris, and we talked about the starting lineup last week. We're close, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Maxi Green, Tybo Maxi. It's one
it's
of
something
that
along those lines. Yeah,
flavor. You got the Heat. Very good. You got the Bucks really starting to turn it back on. Giannis dropped the 50-piece again last night. But are the Sixers now, with that lineup, the favorites in the East?
To me, they're slightly number 2. Still
Behind
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they match up well with the Heat. I think Embiid versus Adebayo, and I think that with Harden now, they can offset whatever Jimmy's going to do. I think they match up well with the Heat.
Yeah, I don't think the Heat are deep enough. So that's where I think you're right.
Right.
Yep.
They were trying to trade Duncan Robinson. That experiment kind of has failed a little bit. Tyler Herro, it's run its course. I mean, he's still good, but
he's good.
Right, but it's not. He's not that third star. He's still just Tyler Herro. He's still really good, but
yeah, they bring him off the bench even sometimes. And
right.
Lowry, you don't really like.
I haven't heard much of Lowry this year, to be honest. Like really,
yeah.
And just think about it. I mean, thank God that trade did not go down last year with Toronto.
Oh, I know.
Imagine giving Maxey up and maybe Thibault for Lowry.
Yeah.
At the time, it would
have don't know if you're keeping
nice, but what?
And you don't know if you're keeping him because
Lowry. No, I think he probably would have stayed here because he's from here. But still, that's a tall order and tall task to give up and to give up those players. And now we're looking at those two players, and they both come into their own.
I'm looking. How about the Pistons beating the Celtics tonight? Pistons 12-45 going into the game.
Yeah, it was time for Boston's clunker.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy there. But talking about that, yes, it just seems like for me, I think I'm with you. I have to respect the champs. I just do. I mean, give me a 7-game series against them. I think we'll have a shot. But I can't call us the absolute favorites right now, especially when we're going to be in a position we're probably going to have to play some tougher teams if we don't get up into that 2 spot. I know we're not far off, but the loss last night hurts, and now we're going to Milwaukee tomorrow without Harden. I don't love our prospects, and then you're going to see us sitting there at the 5 spot right now in the East. Loss tonight by Boston really does help because we got 3 games in loss column on them.
Them off our back, yep.
Yeah, Toronto, 2 games off the loss column. I still see us. I mean, we're tied with Cleveland. I still see us probably sitting in that 4-3 slot, and it's just that's a lot of work because you're going to end up on the road in the second round. So I can't call us the favorites, but I can call us someone that will compete and be there, to the end with this team. Oh, it looks like we just lost Mark for a second. Oh no, that's all right because I'm still here, and until he gets back in, I'll round up what's going on here. Here he is. Didn't take long.
System reboot. Sorry, it kind of Chrome was shutting down my administrator or whatever. So yeah,
it was 5 seconds. That's all right. We got a few minutes left in the show, and now let's get into the dirty. And that's Ben Simmons. And I will tell you, I watched and I don't do this much. I'm telling you, and this is like the God's honest truth. I really don't watch ESPN. I almost never watch it, but I decided after the press conferences the other day, I'll watch Around the Horn and PTI. And Around the Horn, all four knuckleheads around the screen were really sympathetic to Ben Simmons and his mental health. And poor Philly fans for really being so mad at him for wanting to be out of here. Well, I'm going to tell you the truth, everyone. And whether you want to hear it or not, he's a fraud. And the whole story about mental health and him showing up, it's an absolute strike against those who are truly battling that syndrome. I feel for you because there's days. I mean, we all go through it, and I believe in mental health. It is a challenge, and it is something that people need help to cure. He was not battling mental health. He was battling. He didn't want to play for Philadelphia because he's soft, like Charmin. And Shaq has said it, and other people have said it. And I don't even care if I get ripped for this, but I'm just telling you, we all know that, and we all know that deep down inside. But he's playing the card, and it's so sad that the national reporters are sitting here buying into that, and then taking the easy way out and blaming Philly fans for being tough on him because we don't believe. Be around Ben Simmons for the past 5 years. You'll know. Yeah. You'll know. You'll know the whole thing is a complete fraud. And you'll see him out there. They're not going to put him out there right away because they got to play it. They got to play it until, they're ready. But he's going to be out there soon enough. And he's, and they're still going to say he's getting treatment and all that because that was his way of saying he was hurt by Doc Rivers and Embiid. And you know what? Whatever. Dude, he's gone, and I can't wait. And a whole lot of, it is what it is, and this is that, and he ain't going to shoot jumpers. He's not going to help that team. He is, the most he's going to help them, he's going to be a solid defender, and he's going to be able to be like that 3-man that does a little here and there. But he's not. He ain't that good. That's just the bottom line. And I'm tired of people making excuses for him because in the end, the writing was all on the wall since LSU.
The same people at ESPN who are, saying, "Oh, the fans caused this and feel bad and everything like this." They were the same ones who were running these, who were making fun of his free throws. I mean, you look at the SBs when they did that whole Ben Simmons was building this for children's because thank you, Ben Simmons. Like they're the same people that were writing the narrative too, but it's just easy because it's the Philly narrative that it's the fans' fault. It's our fault. Look, I think, and I'll tell you, and I've been honest, and you know this, I've been one of the people who has been anti-Ben Simmons most of his career here. Like I was writing articles for myself back in 2016 where I said I would, if I had the first pick in the draft, I would take Brandon Ingram over Ben Simmons. And I didn't think that he had it upstairs. And I didn't even see that scouting report that pretty much says, like, don't trust his head, that he doesn't have what it takes up here to be a real contender. And like you said, it goes back to LSU. He's the best player in the country, yet couldn't take a team to the dance. Like when there's 64 teams, like so many teams get into the tournament. And, when that happens, I mean, it's you can walk and stub your toe and get into the tournament. Like if you're Ben Simmons, you should have been able to do that. He didn't do that. He didn't want to do it. And going to the, it is what it is. He used those answers before. And, somebody called into a radio show that I was listening to today, and they were a psychiatrist, I believe. And They were just like, look, when you hear somebody say it is what it is, it means they're not accepting responsibility, and it means that they're not getting any help whatsoever. So when that's your deferred response, it means I got nothing to say about it. It's not it is what it is, like, or you're just fine with it being it is what it is. Like, you're not taking responsibility. You're not owning for it. So the way that he was talking, and in his press conference, he also made it seem like yesterday that, you know, it wasn't anybody. I just got to clear my head. I just got to clear my head. From what? From what? Lacking, not working on the stuff that you were supposed to be able to do. And no, it's absolutely a hoax. It's absolutely a crock of shit. He literally has not changed. He wanted to, like I said, you know, if you really had this issue, I think the Sixers would have been more sympathetic if you were like, look, like, this just isn't working for me. Like, I can't get past this. I can't get over it. You know, I'll try, but I don't think it's going to happen. But to just say you want trade, and in October when they start pulling the checks away, that all of a sudden you have mental health now, it just looks bad. And honestly, he does have, his sister has issues. And so I won't completely say he doesn't have any mental issues at all, because it runs in the family. But the way that he used it, the optics of it, the logistics of it, and, you know, Steve Nash going, well, you know, we're not ready to practice him yet. He will be practicing with the team in a week or two, and he will be on the roster when they come to Philly March 10th. But he will not travel with the team then. But I guarantee he plays a game before that game. I do. Because it's a crock of shit. And he's not ill. He's not hurt. I just watched the Brooklyn, New York game, and he's in his Letterman jacket. He's slapping everybody. He's high-fiving everybody.
He's fine.
You know, again, mental health, there probably is something there, but not to the extent that you got to, you know, demand your money, force a trade out because the team didn't coddle you like they used to because Brett Brown's not here anymore. And ownership finally has a clue, and they realize who the franchise is. It's Joel Embiid. It's not you. And the reason why he wanted out is because him and Joe did not get along, and they did not see eye to eye at all. That's it.
Amen. Round of applause. And it's the same stuff I've been talking about, and I'm with you 100%. I don't care if it's controversial. I don't care if it's not, you know, politically right. But the bottom line is the facts are the facts, and it'll come out. It'll come out one day, and if it doesn't, we'll all know. And, you know, it is what he's gone. The trash is out. It's on the curb, and it's been taken away. And beat it, sucker. And I can't wait. So let me ask you this. March 10th comes. I got some odds today. A guy, where was he from? William Hill or Bovada sent me this, promotion. He said, hey, listen, it looks like the odds are Ben Simmons returns to Philly, straight out of Bovada. Will he play on March 10th versus the 76ers? The odds right now, yes, minus 330, no, plus 215. If I can find those odds on my sports books, I'm hammering the plus 215. How do you guys even give those types of odds? He is not playing. He is scared to death to play here.
I'll put my mortgage on it. On this house right here, I will put my mortgage on it.
No doubt. If he plays, like, I would have to see the Nets schedule. If they have a back-to-back, they'll call it load management. They'll call it anything they can. I can't. Why would you put him in that situation? And first off, he doesn't want to be in it. And why would Steve Nash? He already knows he's got a fragile personality. My goodness. If I could see those odds anywhere, I'm in. Yeah. I'm going to AC this weekend, by the way. If I see him down there, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm going to go look for it.
Yeah, but you think he plays? I say
no. No, not at all. No. Not at all. Now, it kind of would be smart if he did just get it over, because if there is a playoff series, they can't afford to not have his first game back in Philly be in the playoffs. I think that would be a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
That it would be smart of them, but it's too soon, and he's not going to. It's not going to happen.
No, I agree 100%. So, all right, man, we've broken the hour mark because we do, because it's fun. But that pretty much wraps it up for the show tonight. February 16th, 2022. We're going into All-Star Weekend, and we're getting excited because what that means is Harden's resting that hamstring, but coming out of the break next week, we're going to be talking about his first game as a Philadelphia 76er, which looks like it's going to come on the road at the Minnesota Timberwolves next Friday. So, it's going to be a great talk next week as we preview that, go over what happened with the All-Star game, go over any rumors in the NFL. We got a whole lot of stuff, maybe even baseball will figure out themselves. But if not, we'll have so much more to talk about because we are Fourth and Go, Philly 4 for 4, so much more. I'm Dave Gluckner. That's Marc Tomasini. As always, brother, great stuff tonight. And until next week, we're here for the Heat Ratio Sports Network, Fourth and Go.